Hello, hello, hello. Um, Happy Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Not to make light of it, but I am glad that we are observing and spending time with community together. Thank you all for joining. We are going to get joined up here with Shey from We Are the Evidence and Christopher, who is going to be doing some ASL interpretation with us. Give us a second while we get connected. Oh, I forgot I even made this fancy slide for this occasion. I almost forgot. We'll get everyone connected and we'll get started. Thank you all for being here. You all know me with my technology. Bear with me. Hello, hello. Thank you so much. All this is Christopher. He is going to be doing our ASL interpretation. Let's go. Here we go. Shey, it looks like she's connecting as well. Technology. I love that Instagram is letting us go live with more than just one other person. Hello. Excellent. Thank you all for joining. I wanted to pin this content warning. We are going to be talking about sexual assault. Without further ado, I am Lauren with Me Too Many Voices, and this is the first night of, this is April 1st, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I'm so excited to be joined this evening by Shey from We Are the Evidence. And Christopher, thank you for interpreting for us. Sexual Assault Awareness Month aims to bring awareness, education, really highlight sexual violence as a whole, and spend time with community, build community. So that is hopefully what we'll do here tonight and over the course of the next month. And then again, also after April, because it doesn't just end in April. It would be nice if we could all compartmentalize all of this just to 1 month a year, but we know that's not the case. As I said, I am joined by Shey from We Are the Evidence. She is a dear, dear friend of mine. I love her page. I love her. She is actually, we both started our page somewhat around the same time, and so we found each other pretty quickly. There weren't as many pages like this back then, and she has been a better friend to me than a lot of people in my own community, in my own life, and the work that she does is just incomparable. So if you're not already following her, check out We Are the Evidence. I'll pass it off to you, Shey, to introduce yourself a little bit more about the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. And it is such a good reminder as to our friendship and how we started. And our friendship's beautiful. We've been able to support each other so much, and I'm just really excited to be here with you today. So thank you for the invitation. A little bit more about We Are the Evidence is it's a social media platform. We do also have a website, weareevidence.com. And we work to educate and empower survivors of sexual assault during their healing process, and even much further after their healing, they're along their healing journey, and provide resources to help people understand the reporting process and what it's like to go to court. So thank you again for having me here.
Of course, of course. The theme of the Me Too Many Voices, the MTMV SAAM, the theme is asking for consent saves lives. That's something that I posted a while back, and I'm not too big of a person that's to say that sometimes I quote myself and inspire myself, but those words really stuck with me. And I think about how much asking for consent saves lives, and how when consent is violated, disrespected, ignored, it affects our health, our livelihood. I wanted to ask you, Shey, what does that mean to you? Asking for consent saves lives.
Yeah, and I've seen you post this, and I've thought about it more and more, and I mean, there's like a really broad way to look at it too. I think that It's a public health crisis, and you and I talked about that even before this meeting. It leads to mental health illnesses, but also physical illnesses, because our mental health and our physical health are so closely tied together, and we're seeing more and more evidence for that all the time. And personally, I have been going through the process of dealing with a potential diagnosis of a autoimmune condition, which can be deadly. And I look into how or why I would have that diagnosis, and I see more and more research all the time that says trauma and living in this chronic state of heightened stress and anxiety from PTSD and going through the court process, that damages your body. My body attacks itself because it's trying to protect itself from, the trauma I experienced years ago. And I have come out a little bit more about that, and I've had so many people reach out to me and say they experience similar things. So, it affects your physical health, but there is that mental health piece too. PTSD, depression, anxiety, those are deadly illnesses in themselves.
Absolutely. It's a public health issue that lasts long after the initial events. And it does. Trauma like sexual assault greatly increases your risk of, like you said, depression, PTSD, anxiety, as well as a myriad of other health issues, stomach issues, heart disease, obesity, autoimmune disorders. And then there's the simple fact that a trauma like this, it takes a toll. And I speak from personal experience, kind of content trigger warning, but about a month after, I think it was less than that, like 3 weeks after I was sexually assaulted in 2018, I tried taking my own life. And I am very glad that I survived and that I'm here and being able to talk about it. Unfortunately, we all know too well how a lot of people do lose their lives due to trauma and to having been sexually assaulted and not being believed, not having the supports. And it's never the victim's fault. And one of the things that I hope to highlight this month is, building community. Me Too Many Voices mission is supporting survivors and supporters of survivors. It's not just a survivor issue, it's a community issue, because until entire communities are educated and understanding and show up and support, the cycles are going to continue to recreate and reperpetrate themselves. I know that got heavy, especially for a kickoff event. Chime in the comments. How's everyone doing? And feel free to share what asking for consent saves lives means to you. Looks like we got some people. Oh.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned like building a community, and something I want to draw attention to is how much work you've built with making sure that community is inclusive of everyone, because sexual assault touches so many people's lives, and our community is inclusive. There are individuals of every different type of population who are part of it, and we need to make sure that our community is a safe place for all types of survivors and everyone. And so thank you for all your work in doing that and really tearing down those barriers people have.
Oh, you're always so kind to me. I try. There's always more I could be doing. There's more that we could all be doing. I made a commitment this year that all of my videos that I produced would have closed captioning. And I know I was sitting here working on captioning, and I am literally the world's slowest typer. Like, you're like 5-year-old niece. They type faster than me. And I was just thinking how I felt sad that the captions, because Instagram, their auto captions, in my experience, they miss a lot, especially talking about these specific subjects. And that, my efforts to do the captions, that I didn't want it to be a secondary thing, that, people were waiting around to maybe watch this for when I uploaded the captions. And I was so happy that Instagram is finally allowing more than 2 people to go live so that we can have Christopher here, and Kelly will be joining us for other events. to be able to do that. You know, that's one way that I've committed to try to increase access and make sure that all communities. Another thing, you know, are you having your programming all in English? You know, are you, you know, maybe offer something in Spanish? I another thing, you know, for hashtags, capitalize the first letter of each word in the hashtag. That how makes it more accessible for people using screen readers. And also sometimes just reading hashtags, like a long one, it's confusing. It helps with people with learning disabilities, dyslexia, and people like me who are like, wait, what is this supposed to say? You know, those are just a couple of different thoughts. Remembering, I think one of the other, blah, 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 easy for me to say. One of the other important things for us all to remember is that sexual violence affects all genders, all classes, all ages, all sexual orientation. You know, what considerations are you making for that in your programming? I know there's a lot more that I want to be doing and could be doing, but remember, one change in your in the work that you're doing can make such a big difference. And if you have any other tips, you know, I know there's a lot more than when I suggested it. I'm not trying to pass myself off as some inclusivity guru or anything, but it's something that we should all be discussing. Let's see, we got a couple of comments coming in. Asking for consent is definitely essential. Sadly, many victims have been hurt and affected negatively due to not doing this. We have Stevie from Six Such. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's actually going to be, we're going to be doing an Instagram Live on the 27th of this month, talking about victim blaming and accepting hard truth. She says this whole month will trigger me in some way. My abuse was so long ago, but I'm still suffering at times. Yeah, it stays with us long after. I'm here with you. If I can support you in any way, let me know. We have a comment, the ASL is so helpful. I can now fully understand what is being talked about. I'm so glad. We have a question. I'll ask you this, Shey. Do you guys believe forgiveness is necessary to heal? I find what happened to me, us, unforgivable, but those around me think I can't heal until I find it in myself to forgive.
You know, I think that's a question that comes up often, so thank you for asking it, because I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, because I think it's really easy for people who haven't experienced this trauma to say, oh, you have to forgive to move on, you have to forgive them because X, Y, and Z. And my personal opinion, and I think everyone has to do their own healing journey and get different perspectives and find what works best for them. But I don't think you have to use the word forgive in order to heal. I like to say that it's not about moving on, it's about moving forward. And looking at the big picture, I think sometimes when people say you have to forgive them, it comes from this place of you have to understand and be okay with what they did. And you don't. What they did was horrible. What they did changed your life forever. It's a trauma you have to live with. It's a trauma that will impact your life and the lives of those around you as they support you. You don't have to forgive them. I do think that harboring on to some feelings of like anger can be a passion source, but it can also hold you back. So sorting through those emotions, but I don't like the word forgive in that context. So no, I don't think you need to. What about you? What do you think?
I think you absolutely 120,000% do not have to forgive. With that being said, there's also no shame in forgiveness. It's a personal choice that we all, you know, whether we want to or cognizant of, you know, have to make. And no, you don't have to forgive. And I think oftentimes people say that because maybe it's easier for them, or they don't fully understand, but you're in control. You know, you get to decide what's best for you. And if that is despising and never forgiving that person for the rest of your life, that's completely valid. If you decide I want to forgive them for me, not for them. Because that's the other thing. Forgiveness is for ourselves. You know, that other person almost doesn't have anything to do with it. You know, if whatever might bring you even just a little bit more closer to peace and comfort. I will say, while you don't have to forgive, and I know that any semblance of closure is very, very difficult and hard to get to. Truthfully, I'm not there, but I do think that, you know, maybe not forgiveness, but some sort of closure. So the trauma, everything that happened is not controlling you, whatever that may look like. And again, it's entirely up to the individual. There's no right or wrong, same as there's no right or wrong whether you're going to report. There's no right or wrong whether you decide to forgive the person. And none of it may feel right. Let's be honest, there's no win in this situation. You know, it's kind of a lose-lose, but whatever might feel a little bit more right for you. Thanks for asking. Someone asked, will these lives be saved and posted on your page? Yes, look for them on IGTV. What other questions do we have? What else are we thinking, Shey?
Well, I was just looking at your calendar for everything you have going on this month, and you have a packed schedule and calendar of amazing content. The diversity in what you've planned is incredible. I don't even know where to start. There's just so much that you're doing. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to the events that are going to be just the next few days. I see that there's going to be a Sexual Assault Africa one tomorrow.
Yes, true. All true statements. Yes, so tomorrow going to be joined by Rachel from Sexual Assault in Africa. We are going to be talking about the culture and impact of sexual assault in Africa. On the 5th, which I believe is Monday, we are going to be talking to Samantha Joy, talking about healing and safety for the BIPOC community. April 6th, No Gray Zone RRC, 2 state prosecutors who, and I'm so fascinated by this, I can't wait to hear what they have to say. As we all unfortunately know, with the pandemic, a lot of sexual assault cases, a lot of cases within the court system are continuing to be pushed and delayed. And they wanted to do something more about it. And so they started a podcast and are doing a lot of work. So we're going to find out everything you wanted to know from state prosecutors and everything that we wanted to ask them. April 8th, we're going to be doing some non-trivial trivia surrounding the history of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. While these are very sobering, important issues, we can still try to have a little bit of fun while learning. Community as a Justice with the University series on April 13th. April 18th, I'll be speaking with Sarah from Comprehensive Consent on consent, boundaries, and respecting the no. April 20th, Jessica Pride, questions and answers from a sexual assault attorney. April 23rd, Allison Turkis is going to be leading a conversation on changing the narrative, survivor storytelling. And April 27th, we are going to be joined by Six Such, accepting hard truths and the impact of victim blaming. So super excited about that. There is more info and times on my page. I've also created a highlight, I think they're called, yes, a highlight on my page that has all of the events, so you can go straight to that as well. Yeah, I'm super excited and honored to hold this space with the community. You know, this community and all your communities, you know, it's given me so much light and hope and a community when I need it the most. And so thank you all for being here. I see a comment. Let's see. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I'm a survivor from Colombia and admire everything you do and post. I started my own foundation here in Colombia to help other victims. They further go on to say, I absolutely love the word survivor. We don't use it here in Colombia, just victims, but we are survivors. Thank you. Thank you. That's incredible. Truly incredible. You are an inspiration, and the work that you're doing is going to inspire so many people. Someone wrote, thank you. It's a lonely place. Being in this with you guys helps. Right back at you. We're in this together. I know I'm just a stranger on the internet, but I care. And I know Shey does too.
Yeah, this community's done more than I think anything else, just knowing that there's all of us in it together and everyone's so supportive of one another. The conversations that happen on posts are always so beautiful and wonderful, just all the support.
If anyone has any other questions, comments, questions about me, Too Many Voices, Shey, We Are the Evidence, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, or any of the events coming up, feel free to chime in the chat. I'm hoping at this time, as we do know that the theme of the MTMV Sexual Assault Awareness Month is asking for consent saves lives. I was hoping that we could all take a moment of silence for those who did lose their lives or have been impacted with sexual violence, whether that's you yourself, a loved one, a friend, someone that you've read in the news, whoever it may be. I'm hoping that we can, just take a moment in honor and hold space for all of you and all of them. So we'll just take a second and, well, probably a minute, and check back in. So thank you all. And this is for everybody that has been impacted or harmed or lost their lives. Thank you all so much. With you in spirit. Well, how are we doing? I know that kind of took a darker, more somber turn, which I think is important because it is sobering and it has greatly impacted many of our lives. And it's important to hold space for that and honor that. With that being said, before we close out the event, I do want to make sure everyone is feeling safe. Chime in the comments. How you doing? What you thinking? How you doing, Shey?
Good. I was kind of thinking when you said like staying safe, also a reminder to everyone that's okay to turn off social media during this month for a while. All the awareness is amazing. All the education's empowering and important. It's also overwhelming, and it's okay to shut down for a little bit, shut all that off, set it aside, and come back to it later. Lauren's going to be wonderful and share everything on her page and on her Instagram, so you can go and find things later if you want to come back to it. But take space if you need to.
So important. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I think often I know for me, and I've heard it from other people, I've almost want to read every single article, watch every documentary, read every post. And sometimes it's okay just to turn off your phone, turn off the news. It doesn't invalidate your experiences. It doesn't invalidate how much you care and are invested in advocacy or supporting survivors. Supporting survivors means supporting yourself as well. We have one question, and then we'll start winding it down. Shey, how do you think we can start preventing sexual violence from our own roles?
So I would answer that, I mean, from anyone's role. I think educating yourself, I think it's too easy to say, I'm not a victim of sexual violence, or I don't know anyone, when you probably do. But you might think you don't know anyone. And so you don't educate yourself, you don't look into the statistics, you don't create a safe space. And anyone can do those things. Anyone can create a safe space. Anyone can watch their language. Anyone can correct language that they hear, where maybe someone makes a rape joke. You can correct that person, and then people around you will know it's a safe place. I think that's a great place to start, and just encouraging people to talk to survivors, believe survivors, and not just believe them, but also stand with them. Be vocal with us. What would you add to that?
I love that. Yeah, I know that it's not always easy, and yeah, there may be circumstances where it's not safe for you to speak up, safety first, but when you can, speak up, like Shey was saying, if someone tells a rape joke, dismantle it. If you hear somebody spouting, rape myths or uninformed information, speak up. Awareness, understanding consent, dismantling these rape myths, supporting survivors, ask the survivor what they need. Maybe they don't know, but, don't offer advice unless it's asked for, just listen, hold space for somebody. I think the most powerful thing that we can do is believe survivors, and that's the bare minimum. We're really not asking for so much. Start there, check in on them, and not just the week or so after, months, years after. Maybe it's how can let me find what resources are near you. And I'm realizing that the question is how we can prevent sexual violence, and I'm kind of turning that into supporting survivors. But education. And I think that it's so complex, the media and the TV shows that make it seem like, something like rape, that the victim immediately recognizes what it is, and they go to the police, and the detectives are informative, and somehow in the hour episode, the victim has resolved their own trauma, the perpetrator is in jail, and so many of these different things help maybe the word help is inappropriate here, but they all contribute to, rape culture as we know it. Educate yourself, educate people, be patient, and also remember, as survivors, we're not Google. We don't owe those resources to anybody. I know oftentimes people will talk to their survivor of their life. It kind of turns into ask the survivor. And no, people also need to Google, read articles. You can help point them in the right direction, but you're also allowed to say, I'm not going to do that emotional labor. We just don't owe that to anyone. And with that being said, know that that does not count for me and Me Too Many Voices. I'm literally a support and a resource, so please do reach out. I see that somebody is talking about reading all of the articles, watching all of it. It's a sense of control. Absolutely. With sexual assault, it's scary to admit, but we lost that control over our autonomy. And we will look for control in anywhere, any place until we get it. And, that's another great way to support survivors. We love choices. We love communication. It goes such a long way. This is such a great conversation. I can't wait to keep doing more of these throughout April and beyond. I just had a brain fog for a moment. I guess I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed by, I hope that this is a good sexual assault awareness month for everyone. I hope that everyone's doing okay. I know just the state of the world with the pandemic, the politics, just everything that's been going on, all the hate crimes. There's been a lot of heaviness in the air. Remember that you matter and that we believe you. We support you. Do you have any other thoughts before we close off, Shey?
Thank you again so much for having me here. It was so much fun tonight, and it's always great connecting with you. So have a wonderful April, everyone, and know that I'm a resource as well if you need to reach out.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Reminder, everyone, I am Lauren with Me Too Many Voices. This is Shey from We Are the Evidence, and we were joined today by Christopher. Thank you so much for helping provide this access. I prepared a slide of resources to show in case anybody wanted to screenshot or share. I know that you can always reach out to me. My DMs are open and I will answer as soon as I can. I do care, but I will thank again Shey and Christopher. I will let you two sign off. Don't worry, I won't do any more talking especially after Christopher signs off. I just want to make sure that I can show these resources in case people might need them. You matter. What happened to you matters, and what happens to you matters. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.